What's going on YouTube? Hit back making another brand new Crypto TV episode. In today's video specifically, we're going to be looking at XRP, Litecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, as well as the S&P 500. Specifically in today's episode, I really want to talk about what we know, where the market's headed, and what we should be expecting come the near future. As you guys remember, we've been watching some very interesting trends on the market where XRP and a lot of the other cryptocurrencies were pretty much just trading sideways. But what's cool is we've actually started to hit some very interesting price levels. And I do think that this is going to open us up for some pretty crazy moves in the near future. Otherwise, if you guys are new to the channel, definitely make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications, leave a giant thumbs up as this does help support the YouTube algorithm. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at CryptoVOfficial. This way, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can DM me over there. Otherwise, let's jump right into today's episode. Alright guys, so before we jump into today's episode, yesterday I made a video basically describing XRP Ripple. Here's what I know. Basically, continuing on the consolidation path that most of these cryptocurrencies were making. And this will pretty much lead us into today's episode as we are starting to see some very interesting moves in the market. I also want to say, before we get into the technical analysis, a huge shout out to everybody on my Patreon. Patreon has been exploding, so definitely make sure to check it out real quick. As you guys can clearly see, some of the tiers are already selling out, and there's only a few spots left in the other tiers here. So definitely make sure to join it if you're interested in learning a little bit more about crypto, or if you're interested in learning my trades, or interested in joining a huge community of people that are really dedicated to learning, trading, and understanding cryptocurrency. You can see we just broke 125 Patreon patrons, which is definitely a milestone for the channel, as we have had more, but these are definitely more dedicated and interested in learning the charts. So I did link the Patreon link in the description down below. So if you do have an interest in learning my trades, learning how I buy long and sell short, and gaining, just ahead of the market where most people don't know, or want to get live updates on my trades, because as you guys know, I do have a full-time job. And YouTube does take a little bit longer to post the videos, as I do have to edit and upload them, and by then you might miss out on a trade. So all those are live updating that I post instantly on my Patreon, linked in the description, so definitely make sure to check it out. Otherwise, to jump right into today's episode, as you guys can see, the market is definitely having some very interesting fluctuation. It's very odd to see that the market is actually up quite a bit today. I mean, it shows in the 7-day average that we're up almost like 20% on majority of the top 10 cryptocurrencies. But what's interesting is on the 24-hour approach, we are only up about 1 to 2%, which is interesting. So what I want to show you guys is, as I jump into the technical analysis, what exactly is happening. So I do have XRP pulled up right now, and what's odd is to see that we're pretty much just in a consolidation pattern. As discussed in yesterday's episode, what's really odd to notice is the fact that we do have a clear, price ceiling, and we do have a price floor. So clearly we do have a bottom support at 55 cents and a top resistance at 70 cents. So obviously if we break either of these directions, it will signal a trigger alert where we will buy in long or we will sell short. Obviously, if the market closes a daily candle above 70, we know we're heading up higher, and we'll buy in long and leverage it higher. Obviously, capitalizing off the massive run, because it should pop off fairly high. Vice versa, if we do see the coin start to dip lower and we veer towards the downwards direction and close the candle below 55 cents, there's a very high chance we're going to see a short position open up, which will trigger a buy-in, and we will buy in for a short, leveraging it, of course. Now, what's interesting is we're seeing really just consolidation on XRP, but what's surprising is the way the other coins are reacting to today's market. And I do want to update you guys on the S&P 500 as well, because I do have some very interesting thoughts. I've been talking to my accountant. I've been feeling out whether or not to buy back into the market, and I just want to share my opinion on that and really hear where you guys stand. Because as I know, I'm pretty young into investing, only 22, and a lot of you guys have been doing this a lot longer than I have. So to hear you guys' feedback specifically on retirement funds and Roth IRAs will really open us up to some other opportunities in the market. So to move on to the other cryptocurrencies, I want to show you guys Ethereum to start. Ethereum has been a coin we've been watching for years now on the channel, but what's interesting is the signs and positions that are opening up for right now. So clearly you can see an ascending triangle forming. You can clearly see it looks like we're hitting a top as we approach the resistance and overbought market on the relative strength indicators. What's odd is to see that this price ceiling right here is having, multiple times of retestment and multiple times of rejection. So it'll be very interesting to see whether or not, Ethereum decides to close above resistance here, and it will most likely trigger a market explosion or some sort of market projection to the upside. And most of the cryptocurrencies will probably follow as well, including XRP. So if we do see this happen and we do see today's candle or tomorrow's candle close above resistance here, I do predict that we will see a pretty big long jump to the all-time highs, as we are retesting all-time highs currently for the 2020 season. What's odd is there's also this really big chance of possible rejection. As we've pretty much closed in and nailed out the fact that this is a very strong resistance, we've had multiple times of correction to the downside. Where does it end up falling? Back to the uptrend. So if we see resistance not get broken here, there's a good chance we're going to see a short position open, and we'll probably reverse back down to retest support at $550, which will ultimately let us fill in the gap which we so desperately need to do. So definitely consider that option as well. Now, moving on to Bitcoin, you can see the same thing is happening to Ethereum as it is to Bitcoin. Bitcoin has a beautiful ascending triangle forming. We're clearly hanging out at around 2020 all-time highs, closer to that $19,500 level, almost at $19,900 like we were just a few days ago. But what's interesting too is we're getting very close. The same thing applies. Are we going to fill in the gap, which is much needed? If we are going to do so, since it's fairly early, there's a good chance we might hit resistance right now that we're currently at, and we might see a reversal back down and a short back down to $18,000. So really consider this as an option, as it's happened in the past, and there's a very strong chance it's going to happen again. With that being said, we're getting very close to once again being overbought on the market, so this may correct to a downside. Obviously, we do know that if at any point we breach above resistance here and break to all-time highs, close the candle above resistance closer to 20,000, which we most definitely will be doing by the end of 2020, probably within this month, there's a very good chance to be buying in long, set that trigger, create a stop loss, obviously buy in long closer to 20,000, and expect to see a huge breakout. This is where my head is. If we at any point break $20,000, doesn't matter if it's in 2020, doesn't matter if it's in 21, we are going to be shooting up. FOMO is going to be buying back in. It is going to be all over news stations, all over television, all over influential pages. People are going to be talking that Bitcoin bubble is back a second time. This is going to be huge, and we are going to see a substantial increase and surplus in FOMO buying in. People are going to have a fear of missing out. They're going to want to buy back into the market. They're not going to be as, ahead of the game like we are. So there's a good chance they're going to wait it out, buy back in, and, see a huge rise in the market. What we'll know is we'll buy in right before that surge happens, capitalize off the run to the upside, and play it conservative and short, and, get out of the market real quick, and then buy into the short as the market, veers back downwards, while most of the new early investors that don't really have much experience are going to be missing out and make a huge mistake and probably lose money as they buy into the massive run, because Bitcoin will easily break 20,000, probably surge all the way up to like $25,000, and most people will miss out as they buy in closer to that $25,000 range. So we're definitely in a great position right now, long term. What's interesting too is Litecoin is also hitting that same resistance, as it is similar, not exactly the same, but it is very similar. There's a good chance it is going to see what could be a reversal back down to bottom support. This is another opportunity to short the market on BitYard. Definitely make sure to check us out on Patreon, as we will be talking and discussing recent trades and possibilities for the future. Good chance Litecoin, as we saw reversal candle forming, we're having the same similar candle forming as well right now. There's a good chance this could signal a downtrend reversal and fall us and pull us back down to $73, as we need to fill the gap and head up higher. So the same pattern is happening with Litecoin, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. We're hitting resistances as we speak, and this opens doors up for, if we close the candle above resistance, there's a good chance we're going to explode up higher. Vice versa, if we close below here, good chance we're going to reverse lower. I'm just going to slightly tweak this. It's going to be so small, but just to show you guys what it is I'm referring to, you can see where that resistance and that reversal happen. So we're literally testing that as we speak, and we'll see whether or not we want to reverse lower. My bet is at a short opportunity is on the rise. There's a good short opportunity here from $88 back down to $75. Big money to be made. So definitely set a stop loss back at $90 if we start to reverse lower. We head down to 86, set the stop loss at 90, and then anticipate a reversal to happen. Lastly, to wrap up today's video, the S&P 500. I've been talking to my accountant for quite a while now in regards to the S&P 500, and I just want to share his information as it does affect all of us, especially me. What he said is you should never sell out of the S&P 500. Which makes sense. Now, I have never pulled out my money from the Roth. It will always be in that retirement account, but just in the fact that things do average out. And if you look at things in the hindsight, yes, we did manage to fall all the way from February. We fell all the way down to, March, back down to $2,000 and then back up, or 2,000 points. And this was immediately corrected right after that reversal. And now we're back into all-time highs, breaching, out of this resistance here. I mean, there's really nothing to lose. I don't think it's anything that serious if we buy back in right now. But my logic is why buy back into a market when we're nearing overbought? My only concern to that, to that reference is in the fact that, look, back in 2013, we were overbought as well, right here. What did we do? Yes, we had small pulls, but we literally trended upwards the entire time above overbought market, and we just slowly lowered ourselves on the RSI, and we just continue to pump higher and higher and higher. So yeah, I mean, yes, we did make quite a bit of money. We sold out, we capitalized off the run to the upside, and now we're kind of floating. Yeah, we could wait for a potential reversal back down, but we'll always correct higher. Yeah, it won't look pretty then, but it will, bring us up eventually. But for right now, let's say we just float on here. Let's say we see a small correction back down to 35, and then we just slowly float up for the next 6 years. It makes sense to buy back in because we'll pump slowly higher and higher and higher over the next course of years. And granted, I have another 40 years to keep my money in this market. So to play around with this for the next month or two, it doesn't really seem that wise. Yes, I'll obviously keep everyone posted on the S&P 500 because not only can we talk about the Roth and the retirement account, but we can also talk about just trading on the S&P 500. We can clearly open just a stock market account to trade around with and play, declare capital gains if we make profit, and just trade around freely in the market just like we're doing right now. But we'll just have that, that Roth, that retirement account as a separate entity, a long-term conservative investment just for the future. Otherwise, guys, that's pretty much going to wrap up today's video. If you guys are new to the channel, definitely make sure to subscribe. Definitely make sure to check out the Patreon linked in the description. Make sure to turn on post notifications, smash the thumbs up button, and make sure to follow me on Twitter, CryptoVOfficial. And I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Peace.